knew how he put an end to it. I will just mention to you what happened in Lagos State and how the team was life was quickly snubbed out of it. In this type of insecurity that we are having, local vigilante, security, the local aspect of security system has to be aggravated now. It has to be activated. Because if you know some of these schools, I'm very happy you said our security agencies, our agents are overstretched. What is the strength of our military? They are less than 400,000. What of the police? They are less than 400,000. And if you know the length and breadth of the north, how can you police the whole of this north? How can you police the entire...
I'm sorry, gentlemen. We're out of time. I'm really sorry. I apologize. I apologize, Mr. Olayoku. Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel Moran. Thank you, gentlemen. We have to wrap things up because we have to go and have another conversation with our next guest. Dikpo Olayoku is a broadcast journalist and Emmanuel Moran is a legal practitioner. Thank you, gentlemen, for being part of the conversation. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you all for staying with us. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll be speaking with Sheikh Gumi. Of course, he's going to be talking about the negotiations with bandits terrorizing the country. Stay with us.
With the level of poverty that there is in Nigeria,
150
government
million.
should have a complete vertical impetus, proper accounting process.
The day we want a better Nigeria,
We will
there will
get
be a
up.
better Nigeria,
Very
not the
true.
leaders.
I think our expectation is too high for the quality of what is possible. It is Nigerians that will stamp our feet and say, this is how it must be.
A Chinese man will register a company. His driver will be a shareholder holding 51% because that's the position of the law. And then he tells you it's a Nigerian-owned company.
Cannot discountenance the experience of the old. And the way to not discountenance that is to return to what they've done in the past and learn from it so that you don't make the
I
same
tried
mistakes.
correcting one. He told me, look, if you people can't support us, get out.
Our focus on one-on-one today is mental health, and my guest is Bukola Lamid, fondly called the therapy queen.
Most times when people have issues surrounding their emotions and mental health, the next place they go to is to seek spiritual. There is no good or bad emotion. We are the one that gives interpretation to emotions. It is okay to be sad. What is not okay is to stay sad. They're two different things. Everybody has vulnerabilities. Everybody have their strengths. Focus more on your strengths. Repressed emotion becomes toxic. So it is even more about you than whatever anybody wants to do or want to say about your issues. Most of the time, people who are depressed don't say it. Men are more emotional than women, but they don't show it. Always make sure that whatever you feel, however you feel, you let it out.
One-on-one with Bukola Lamid, airing on Plus TV Africa at 9 p.m. this Tuesday.
President Buhari has ruled out negotiating with bandits. He said that his government would continue to deal decisively with insurgents, bandits, and kidnappers who have continued to hold the country to ransom. This rejection came against the backdrop of demands by Islamic cleric Sheikh Gumi and Zamfara State Governor Bello Matawale. Well, joining us to discuss this is Islamic cleric Sheikh Abubakar Gumi. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be with you.
Great. Let me just cut straight to the chase. Of course, if you were watching the first conversation, we're still talking about the level of insecurity in the country and banditry. Going into the forest, speaking with these bandits, dialoguing with them, are you doing this on your own accord? Is it an independent thing? Are you working in tandem with the governments in the affected state? What exactly is, the case?
Okay, well, good evening. I started this on my own, seeing that let me give my own small little quota in trying to see we have peace in the region. So when I started up, I realized that there are state governments that have adopted the same system. And I was invited to also add my own quota in trying to see that we have peace in these ravaged states, Zamfara, Kebbi, and Niger State.
Were you not afraid in any way getting across to these bandits or these said men because of what they were said to have done? You had the audacity to walk into the forest, the same forest that a lot of our security agencies have not been able to go into. What gave you that audacity? I mean, it's such a serious issue to take on by one person when we have security agencies to do that.
Yes. You see, when you approach them in a religious form, when you approach them, you want to teach them religion, you want to speak to them in a language in which by you are trying to solve their problems. You want to hear their grievances. They will give you the hearing ear and they will not harm you. But if you go there as a spy, or you go there as somebody with hostility, then then they will fight back. Or we go there as clerics to preach to them, to show them the bad ways which they have fallen into, and to also listen to their grievances. We try to show them, yes, we respect them as human beings, because if you want somebody to listen to you, you have to show him respect. You can see we purposely bring them close to us, not to be far away like Master and his followers. We want them to feel at home so that they can vomit whatever they have at heart, so that we can listen to them and see how we can transfer that to the society, so that the society can be able to, after rehabilitation and teaching them, teaching them things that they can live on, because not all of them can be herdsmen. There are not enough cattle to go around. Professions to learn, like masonry, electricians, vulcanizing. We have to introduce this to them so that they can integrate into the society.
I'm interested to know, I mean, there are several people who are like them, who are in our society, they are in our communities, they're not taking up arms, they're not kidnapping people, they're not getting into sharp practices. But that's aside. You're also saying that you go to them because you want them to divulge their, whatever their problems are, or what their demands are. In all of your dealings with these people, what could they possibly have said their demands are? What would be their grievances for undertaking such? I mean, it's something that is causing insecurity. They're kidnapping students, they're kidnapping teachers, they are attacking people on their rice farms and leaving them for dead. What could be the excuse for doing all of these dastardly acts?
Yes, you see, what you have to understand is that these people are unskilled. These people have no any formal or even informal education. So you are dealing with a human being who is raised up in the forests, who has little knowledge of the consequence of what he's doing. He's just slightly short of being an animal. I'm sorry to say that, and I hope they don't hear me. So you see, the way you treat him is completely different from the way you treat town dwellers. In the town, even if you are jobless, whatever it is, that civilization will creep into you, that you see barbarism in what you do. If you look at the history of mankind, look at the barbarians, how they ransacked Rome. Look at the barbarians, how they finished with Europe completely. And look at the Mongols and the Tatar, how they have ravaged people. Because why? Because they're barbarians. They don't have any education. And this is exactly what we are facing in a small microsome. So we have to deal with it with very careful, what do you call it? We have to be very careful how we handle these people. Since they don't have any formal education or informal education even.
So, so is this the grounds for which you're asking for amnesty? Is this the grounds that you're asking for amnesty? Because
moral education or even the modern education. These are the people you.
I'm sorry, Sheikh, but I'm going to take that question again.
The network, I can't hear you.
Yes, is this the grounds for which you're asking for amnesty? Because understanding what amnesty means, it means you're saying these people should be totally forgiven and rehabilitated into society. What happens to what they've done to people? Like I made reference to people killed on their rice farms, people being slaughtered, people being taken away from their homes in their sleep. And there was a statement that you made some time ago saying that they didn't set out, they didn't mean to do these things, they were accidental. What exactly is accidental about all of these things that I have mentioned?
We are not trying to justify what they do. Nobody can justify evil or crime at all. No justification for any crime. But when you are dealing with somebody who doesn't know, somebody who is ignorant, somebody, how do you manage him? How do you bring him out of his ignorance and show him the light? Such a case is completely different from other criminalities. You know, criminals that choose to be criminal, not are forced to be criminals by circumstances. Every government is supposed to be responsible for the formal education up to secondary school level. Well, in Nigeria, we don't have that. Look at bandits, completely, just slightly above animals in thinking and behavior. So how can we say we go and exterminate and kill them? Knowing that, you see, as I've told you, I've read a lot of history. We have the first Muslim sociologist, his name Ibn Khaldun, in his book, and when they fight with civilized people, the barbarians usually win in the war for many reasons. They win because a civilized person is careful, but a barbarian is careless. He doesn't even care about his life. That's why the barbarians were able to ransack Rome, and they were able to come into the Islamic world and ravage everything. What I saw there, I saw barbarians. You see, I instead, let me tell you something. When I realized these people are ready to lay down their arms, they are ready to be educated because they're asking for schools. You can see even the lady that was kidnapped in Niger State. She's there in the media. When she was asked, what did they say? They said, we need schools, we need hospitals. Their complaint is government. And it's the government that neglected them. Not this government, all the government, them. A fight that we cannot really truly subdue them. Because look, they are barbarians. They are barbarians. We cannot subdue them. So why, since they are ready to put down their arms and get an amnesty, and why don't we do that and teach them, bring them out from their ignorance?
But what's the guarantee? What is the guarantee that these people, if given amnesty, would abide by the rules or by whatever it is, what is stated for them to follow? Because these people seem to be lawless. What's the guarantee that they will stick to the rules of the amnesty program if it be granted in the first instance?
They become lawless. Yes. You see, they become lawless when they are congregated together in one place. But you see, if there's an amnesty, we are going to separate them. This one will go to this school, this one will go to that school. We will make our forest safe and give it handed over to the security, you see. But if you have the forest which is unguided, which is unmanned, and you don't have presence of government there, and they congregate together, and they have no scholar among them, then this is the bomb we have. But once you give them an amnesty allows them to drop the weapons so that they will not be prosecuted and they will feel safe. Then we can do ways to disperse them. We don't allow anybody now to congregate in the forest. This way, we can tackle this problem rather than confrontation that we don't know the results.
So you're saying that we should totally jettison the law because, I mean, the laws were written for things like this. What these men are doing is criminal. Some even call it terrorism.
Okay,
in fact, that's what it is called. It's terrorism. So you're saying that we should totally look away. The law should not come into force on these men because what they have done is tantamount to terrorism.
Yes, you see, it's not something new in Nigeria. I've been comparing them to the kidnappings, to the bombings, to the things the Niger Deltas did. Vandalization of oil pipes, which were built with millions of naira. We lost so much, crippling Nigerian economy, which economy holding about 200 million people.
And we haven't lost anything to these
giving
bandits?
Give them amnesty is the right thing. It's the right way rather than going into the creeks and start bombing them and killing them.
So we haven't lost anything? I mean, human lives are much more important than oil installations. Don't you think so?
Well, yes, it's more important human life. But you see, when you don't give them an amnesty and let them drop their weapons, we will lose more and more human lives. You say if you want to fight them, don't think it's so easy. Look at Boko Haram, ragtag army, and they're killing our soldiers. But if there's a peace, we will not lose our soldiers like that. We're losing soldiers by, in fact, let me tell you, honestly speaking, I lose my relative in Zamfara, a soldier, a relative, 35 of them were ambushed by these bandits and they were killed. My relative. I know I lost a relative as a result of their actions, but still, I'm ready to forgive if they are going to stop this action by a peace negotiation and we rehabilitate them. We teach them crafts so they can be vulcanizers, they can be electricians, they can be anything you want, rather than to continue this way and it leads to more bloodshed, more suffering, and more crimes.
I'm imagining if the US or any other country where they're terrorists, especially with the fact that most people are saying that these people, including the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Sa'ada Abubakar, who's saying that these people are not Nigerians. I'm imagining if America, for example, opened its doors to terrorists and gave them amnesty and then taught them some things, you know, some handiwork or made them learn some trade. Would America be what America is today if every country that faces some form of terrorism forgives their terrorist? Will that country really be standing on its feet? Again, there are people who are criticizing you, who have criticized you, who have suggested that in any saner climb, a person who's advocating for amnesty for terrorists should be behind bars. What would you say about this?
They are jokers.
Well,
they are jokers that they
can you really fault them?
They want us to continue killing ourselves. But I think only somebody who is joking.
But can you really fault them? For example, you're making a case. The point
is, if it's in America, America can never leave a chunk of its population unlettered without education. Education is mandatory in America. And that's why you can never have this kind of group in America. If it's in America, they must be 100% criminal. But these people are pushed by circumstances of life into criminality. And if you talk to them, they don't want this life. They want to take down their weapons. They want to be assimilated into the society. So why do we say no? Why? As for the victims, I said I am a victim of them. They took my brother. We have to pay around some of 5 million myself. And I've lost a soldier, a relative. It's just less than 2 months ago in Zamfara. It was an ambush. So I'm a victim of this vicious bloodletting. But I want an end to it. What is the best way an end to it? Is since I've talked to them and they told me they are ready to lay down their arms ready to lay down their arms. So why do we
So this
become
is your
so
way
attached
of this
to
is your way of
semantics,
getting
attached
justice
to
for
some
this is
false
your way of getting
ideological,
justice for the people you think you lost, and that's by advocating for amnesty and forgiveness for the same people who have taken the lives of your brother
the justice will come.
and
Let me
your
tell you how
son.
the justice will come. The justice will come when the government will compensate them. If you have evidence, I have evidence I've lost a soldier. I have, you know that his body started even before we can retrieve him. His body is almost changed. He's documented, so government should pay compensation for him. And those who are proven to be victims of this, the government should bear, because the government is supposed to protect people. And if it's not able to protect people, then it has to bear the burden of their criminality. And also, let's not forget, they are too victims. They too are victims of excesses. We should not forget that. Yes, you can be sitting in your...
Well, Sheikh Ahmed Gumi, I'm sorry, we're out of time.
All of them will tell you...
I'm so sorry we're out of time. I want to thank you very much for taking out time of your tight schedule to speak with us. Unfortunately, time is not on our side. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you very much.
All right. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll give you my take. Well, here's my take. We seem to be facing a cycle of crime and injustices meted out on innocent Nigerians, especially children. The perpetrators are getting more audacious by the day, knowing that our leaders are weak. They've taken advantage of the weakness to come and go as they please. And what's worse is that our children and women continually fall victim to these crimes. How do we say we have a leadership when it's not showing its prowess when we need it the most? Our brothers and sisters in the north are unable to sleep with both eyes closed for fear of these raiders, these bandits, these kidnappers and terrorists. Who will protect us if those who swore to protect, and save us seem to be overwhelmed or bereft of ideas on how to do so? Who do we run to? While we wail and scream at the top of our voices, hoping that they hear us, the criminals are smiling to the bank and re-strategizing on their new targets. Instead of being swift in arresting critics of our leaders, let's channel that energy to be 10 steps ahead of these terrorists and bring them to their knees. Let's rid our country of this new wave of terrorism spreading like a wildfire before it's too late. I am Mariana Kohn, thanking you for watching. Have a good evening.
We can't talk about education reform if we don't decolonize our education system.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize. Because it's just cultural. And I think it's just human nature.
They stop paying us salary. I don't like remembering it.
I am angry at Nigeria. I am angry at this government which seems to be letting us down. I am angry at us as a people.
In the process of struggling to free myself from his hand, he tore my pants and he raped me.
Yes, I commit the offense truly.
Young girl, do you know where you are going? I say, I'm going to America. I say, now so that they talk, you are going to Libya. Which America?
As it then do mark our place, some people they die now.
This is Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Oftentimes when we see celebrities either on social media, television, or in person, we assume they have it all together, but we forget that they're also human. Well, here are some of the low points of some of your favorite celebrities.
I was broke, man. It's not funny. Do you know that? Let me tell you something. Most rich people picking no get money. You know why? Because they don't feel the need to work or aspire or want to be something. You understand? You know, my mom died when I was 11. You know, I'm the last one of 5 kids. So from a young age, I knew what I wanted to do. You understand? I fought to do this music. I come from a family where it's school. When you finish school, go and work for Popsy. Do you understand? So this music is something I had to fight for and work hard for. So, you know what I'm saying? To become Davido wasn't anything like, say, Popsy helping or anything. Of course, my dad has played a very key role in my career, for sure, as a mentor, as a supporter and everything. But I feel like if you want to, no matter who you are, no matter the background you come from, you have to work.
2013, 2014, when Show Me Your Rosé was like the biggest song in Nigeria, I had an Achilles tendon injury. I couldn't walk for like about 6 months. You know, I used to go to shows with crutches, and before I go on stage, I drop my crutches and jump in. And after that, I keep bleeding after every performance. And at some point, the doctor told me to stay off stage and stay off performing for the longest time. And at that time, my record label left me. I was totally alone. Big up my manager at the time, Kolo. He was, you know, right beside me at every point in time. At that point, I wanted to give up, you know, just a single artist, nobody supporting me, nothing. It was just, you know, you guys, my fans out there, and the few people that kept telling me, yo, your sound is different, you need to keep going, you know? And I kept going, and prayers and God, that was all it took, you know? So if I can do it, trust me, don't try to be the next me, because you might not get it right. Just try to be the first you, because that is the only way that you will stand out and be a legend in your own world. So saying that, I want you guys to know that life is not as hard as people make it look. Try to live your life like water. No matter how they cut you, they leave no scars, you know? But have no foes, have not too many friends, but believe in those that you believe in, because when you believe and share positive energy to the universe, it comes right back to you.
It's a funny one though. I remember this one vividly. I just started Flatmates. Back then, not the new Flatmates, like some 15, 16 years ago. After I graduated from the University of Lagos, so I wanted to do my own thing, and I started shooting Flatmates. But there was no money to even take tapes sometimes to TV stations, because I'll be the one to shoot sometimes myself, carry the camera, shoot, write on a paper that we use only one paper that you read, okay, but say your line, say my own. So we don't even photocopy scripts because there was no money at the initial stage. So I remember, because I had to deliver a tape to MITV to show their own for the week, deliver another one to LTV to show their own for the week, deliver to NTA Channel 2, because the program became so big after the initial one at STV. So every TV station was asking for it. And I trekked, I remember vividly, trekking from MITV in Ikeja to my parents' house in Abeson, Ipaja. Wow. As in I trekked, because there was no other way I would be able to get home. From University of Lagos, I managed with the little money I had to get to MITV and LTV to give them the tapes I would run, because if I didn't, then there would be nothing to show. So I had to go back home, so I had to trek. I think this will be able to inspire people.
When I was starting off, I remember at some point, when I started working with a radio station, you know, I wouldn't want to mention the radio station. Back in Jos those days, the station used to be situated at a 12-story building, you know, and our office was on the 9th floor, and the office didn't have an elevator. There was no functional elevator, so we used to walk all the way to the 9th floor and then back. And then my salary then was 4,000 naira a month.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, and that 4,000, I used to have one of my colleagues who used to work with me then, so we split it to 2,000 every month.
And what year was it?
It's 2004.
Years ago, I had just come to Lagos. I'd like to think that I was about 22 years old at the time. I had my break in the industry, but it wasn't. I was still an up-and-coming actress. So I think it was a year where my big film came out. So yeah, I got roles, I was having offers to work, and then I was paid good money. And then I went to see some group of friends that I had on the island, and they were like the big girls. So then they were buying, there was somebody who brought bags for sale. The bags were like 350,000 naira each. And I mean, I couldn't have afforded it at that time, but it didn't make any sense to me to buy a handbag for 350K when I was doing very okay with my 25,000 naira bags and 15,000 naira bags. And so, because they were, they were like, oh, this will look good on you. You need to, now you're a Lagos girl. I'm like, okay. So out of the pressure, I took 2 other bags. So when I got home, I called the girl who sold the bag. I said, look, would it be possible to return these bags? Because I don't think I really need them. And she was like, oh, sure, why not? And that's how I returned the 2 bags. And I didn't take the bag. So I went back to buy my 15,000, 25,000 naira bag at that point in time, because that was what I felt like, that was what made sense to me at that time. Now, what is the story, the lesson of this story that I just told, what I'm trying to say, in essence, is that there is time for everything. Take your life one step at a time. Do what you can afford. Do not be pressured, because that lifestyle you're looking at today, if you build yourself today, you might just be able to afford even much more than that tomorrow. But the thing is this, you have to start from somewhere. And then not just like you start making money today, you want to have the most elaborate or the most flamboyant things. No, you have to save. It's so important to save. And if you don't save, you can't have a financial stable life.
Well, many thanks for joining us on Plus News Update. I am Justin Akadonye. Nigeria has received its first batch of COVID-19 vaccines. The NAFDAC-approved Oxford AstraZeneca vaccines arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, around noon on Tuesday via an Emirates airline. Chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Abbas Mustafa, had said on Saturday that Nigeria will receive its first tranche of about 4 million doses of the coronavirus vaccines. Top government officials were on the ground to take delivery of the vaccines. They include the PTF chairman, the Minister for Health, Osage Ehanire, Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, and the Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, Chikwe Ihekwazu. Ehanire said about 70% of Nigeria's population is expected to be inoculated within 2 years. COVAX, led by the Vaccine Alliance Gavi and the World Health Organization, with UNICEF as an implementing partner, aims to deliver nearly 2 billion doses around the world by the end of 2021.
Nigeria has a lot of experience of campaign management and how to work, both in terms of measles, for example, but also in terms of polio. So we will use the polio network to be able to ensure that people in the most extreme areas are reached as quickly as is possible.
I believe the government will not want to do anything that will kill the people to come in. So, but if it has been certified, we are excited about that. We have been taking vaccines in other things, polio and other illnesses. So I don't believe there's anything special about this one, that to be happy so that we move on.
If Nigeria can share as much as possible, so that somebody like me and somebody like my family can get it. And we don't know how we can get it. Either we'll be walking on the street, they'll just start giving us, we don't really know.
Now, the Senate has confirmed the appointments of the new service chiefs. They are Major General Lucky Irabor, Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Ibrahim Atahiro, Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo, Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal Ishaka O. Amao, the Chief of Air Staff. They replaced the former Chief of Defense Staff, General Abayomi Olonishaki, Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tukur Burtei, Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Ibok Ekwe Ibas, and the Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar. The Senate President in his remarks urged the new service chiefs to take the war to the bandits and insurgents and dislodge them in their stronghold. Governor Bello Matawale of Zamfara State says repentant bandits assisted security agencies in the operation that led to the rescue of Jangabi schoolgirls. The governor said the government has been discussing with the abductors since Friday and reached an agreement on Monday by 4 p.m. and at about 5 a.m. on Tuesday, the girls were released safely without paying any ransom. Matawale said the girls will undergo medical checks and given nutritional meals to recuperate before they are handed back to their respective families.
Mun jijjimu a kafa mun ce musu mun ji ciwo suka ce duk wanda ba za ta iya tafiya ba harbin ta za su yi shine nan muka ci gaba da tafiya har mun ƙara nisa mu shiga can cikin wani daji ma haya wani rafi su samu wani kalugo nan suka sassaka mu a gurin.
They are here who went there, about 32 of them. They go and engage those bandits, and today you see all of them. And despite the fact that other media has said it's 317, it is not correct. It is 279 children, and all of them are here. They are healthy, and we are going to take them to some medical facilities so that to examine their status of their health.
Meantime, President Muhammad Buhari has expressed overwhelming joy over the release of abducted female students of Government Girls Science Secondary School Jangabi in Zamfara State. In a statement he released in Abuja on Tuesday, the president said he was excited that their ordeal came to a happy end without any incident. He added that being held in captivity is an agonizing experience not only for the victims but also their families and the government. The president also called for greater vigilance by Nigerians and urged the police and the military to go after the kidnappers and bring them to justice. And in other parts of Africa now, authorities in Niger have brought 8 charges against opposition leader Hammer Amadou, including participation in an organization seeking to overthrow a democratic regime. 2 people died when protests broke out in the aftermath of last month's presidential election, which the Electoral Commission said was won by ruling party candidate Mohamed Bazoum with 55.75%. Amadou, who finished runner-up in the 2016 election, was barred from competing this time because of a criminal conviction. He threw his support behind another candidate, Mahamane Ousmane. Ousmane, a former president, claimed the run-up vote was fraudulent and that he won with 50.3%. The African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in the continent reached over 3.9 million on Tuesday. According to the Continental Disease Control and Prevention Agency's Africa COVID-19 dashboard, the death toll related to the pandemic stood at 104,012 as of Tuesday noon. A total of over 3.48 million people infected with COVID-19 have recovered across the continent so far, the agency disclosed. The Southern Africa region is most COVID-19 affected in the continent in terms of the number of confirmed positive cases, followed by the Northern African region. The most affected African countries in terms of the number of positive cases include South Africa, Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, and Ethiopia, it noted. And outside Africa, the Armed Forces of the Philippines has launched its COVID-19 inoculation drive a day after healthcare workers received China's Sinovac COVID-19 doses. An initial batch of 600,000 doses of Sinovac vaccines donated by China arrived in the country on Sunday, 100,000 of which were donated to the Philippine military. Now, Philippine military personnel are required to get vaccinated and may face disciplinary actions if refused, according to Armed Forces of the Philippine spokesman, Major General Edgar Arevalo, in a statement. He also added that they may choose a different brand but at their own expense. The country has recorded 12,369 deaths from the virus and 580,442 total reported cases, including infections with the more infectious UK variant.
To this symbolic vaccination, one of the COVID vaccines, the Sinovac, and the vaccination rollout across the country, we are now finally taking a historic step towards conquering this pandemic.
Ang pinaka-importanting mga Pilipino dito sa laban na ito ay ang ating mga frontliners, ang ating medical frontliners, and our uniformed personnel.
Now, Singapore's Prime Minister has called for Myanmar's military to release elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi to allow the country to move forward, and said sanctions would hurt the people rather than the military. In an interview with the BBC, Lee Hsien Loong said the military will have learned from the past that it was in the country's interest for it to work out an arrangement with an elected civilian government, as a military route would lead nowhere. The Singapore leader also does not expect sanctions to hurt the military leaders in Myanmar based on past experiences. Other Association of Southeast Asian Nations members have also urged action following the coup.
Now, after all that journey to a civilian government, albeit with a big military influence in the system, to have to go back and have the military take over again may or may not be according to the Constitution, but it's an enormous tragic step back for them, because there's no future that way. And then to arrest Aung San Suu Kyi as well as her ministers and the president and charge them with walkie-talkie offenses and things like that, I don't think that's going to help solve the problem. So you really have to get back, release Aung San Suu Kyi, negotiate with her and her team, and work out a peaceful way forward for Myanmar.
In business news now, the Amalgamated Union of Foodstuffs and Cattle Dealers of Nigeria has lamented alleged intimidation of members and union task force on major road by security operatives. General Secretary of the union, Ahmed Alarama, says the union had written to all the security agencies, including the army, as well as the presidency, before commencing its strike action. The union had earlier claimed that it lost over 151 members during the recent Shasha crisis in Ibadan, Oyo State, saying that no form of harassment will deter its decision.
We'll use this opportunity to let the Nigeria at large to know the present situation of our strike. Our members were being prostrated nationwide from the Nigerian army just because we call strike. Our contribution to peace, progress, unity, and economic growth of Nigeria, gentlemen of the press, we reject what Nigerian army has done to our task force in the 4 places that we have mentioned.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the Ekiti State Emergency Management Agency, Sunday Adebumi, has promised farmers who lost their farms to fire in Ikoro that the state and federal government will investigate the degree of cash crops lost and come up with how the affected farmers will be adequately compensated. The SEMA chairman made the vow while inspecting and ascertaining the level of damage caused by the fire on the farms. Lamenting the enormous losses the farmers had suffered as a result of the inferno, Adebumi assured that government will investigate and put up measures to avoid future recurrence.
Not less than 100 to 200 hectares of land, farmland, had been gutted here. So it's a serious issue. And there is nothing we can do to really assuage the feelings of the people here, because I can assure you this year there will be so much economic hardship for our people here, because we are mostly farmers here.
Former Commissioner for Health in the state, Femi Thomas, said farm produce worth over 50 million naira were destroyed by the fire.
This is government. It is a process, and we have to follow that process.
So it is hard for me to say specifically when exactly the relief or the help may come. But we'll definitely work on each and everything that we are going to do to make sure they get the necessary help.
Away from business, report in entertainment these now. A painting by former British Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill, which was owned by Angelina Jolie, has sold for £7 million at auction in London. The sale price was almost 4 times the top pre-sale estimate and beat the previous record for a Churchill painting, which was just under £1.8 million. The Tower of the Kutubia Mosque, painted in Marrakesh during the World War II, was sold to an anonymous buyer. A Christie spokesperson called it Churchill's most important work. In sports news, now Lewis Hamilton has made the living on diversity a priority and was guarded about his future beyond 2021 as Mercedes showed off the car that could power him to a record 8 Formula One title this season. The 36-year-old Briton has a contract only to the end of 2021, raising speculation about what happens after that. The W12 car retains the black livery introduced last year to reinforce the team's commitment to improving diversity with elements of silver, burgundy, and green. Hamilton, the sport-only black driver and most successful of all time, took a knee before every race last year and used his platform to speak out on issues of racial justice. He also set up a commission to help increase the representation of black people in British motorsport, and he and Mercedes have announced a foundation dedicated to diversity and inclusion in the sport. And that's the news at the ZAR. For more update, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We will return at 6 p.m. with more stories. I am Justin Akadonye. Many thanks for watching.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Fame, glamour, success, money, and all forms of flamboyance are what you associate with celebrities. But with the recent pockets of reports of Nigerian celebrities revealing their battles with depression, it calls for concern of a thin line between fame and depression, between appearance and reality, and many rhetorical questions. Expense of love for their craft. A close observation shows that social media has continuously been a contributory factor. The regular interface with imaginary audience creates a lot of tension and illusions by many of these artists. Recently, many of our favorite stars such as Ari Song, Wajay, Dija, and a host of others have been vocal about their battles with depression. Plus TV Africa spoke to some key players such as a music executive and convener, Social Media Week Lagos, Obi Asika, and a mental health specialist, Dr. Kadiri Memuna, and a popular Nigerian actor, Arike Akinyoju, who has been vocal about her struggles with depression.
I think it is. Yes, especially in this part of the world that we belong to, Nigeria, fame here, I think is a major cause of depression.
Because human beings are unique, and because human beings are, we all have our personal journey. They are what we call vulnerability risk factors. people are already vulnerable in one way or the other, maybe from adverse childhood experiences, and then with fame, which is somehow as you grow, it may be a childhood fame, because sometimes you see some children, they grow into fame, while some people are deliberate and intentional into achieving fame. Famous people have to keep up with, entertaining us. Famous people have to keep up with a particular personnel. Famous people have to keep up with, with all the challenges, even if they are going through a lot. We do not want to see them down. We are following them for the things that we want to get from them. They are inspiring people, they're influencing people, they're empowering people, they're doing a whole lot. So whatever they may be going through, the society, we don't want to see that part of them, even if they know they may be going through that. That is it. So they have to just keep on being, that person we want to see.
We should not be calling talents celebrities. Yes, they have become celebrities, but they became celebrities because of their talents, because of what they do. They are not just celebrities because they exist. So everybody, from my experience in life, all creative people have challenges in terms of putting together their process. And every time, it's like anywhere in the world, if you don't hear of your favorite actor for 5 years, it's one of two things. It's just A, they're not working, and B, they're not at this point in time getting offers. So what I would say is that a lot of people, if you work in the entertainment industries, if you work in those spaces, you will know that it is a high stress, high anxiety business. So therefore, the people who are working in these businesses are constantly seeking for affirmation and for support to see them through what they're doing. So in that regard, if you're in the public eye and you're constantly having to keep up appearances, it can become very, very difficult, especially if things are not going as well as they used to go in the past.
There was a time in my life I passed through depression, but I think it's not because of my career. It's because naturally I'm not the type that, things people say get to. Fine, I feel concerned when they say things or they expect me to live in a certain way and I'm not living that life. I feel concerned and I feel like, but it doesn't really get to me. So if I ever had depression, it wasn't basically on my career level.
That would be great. In fact, that would really, 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 help in this advocacy that, have been blazing the trail in Africa, trying to change the narrative and let it be a movement for people to understand that mental health is as important as our physical health, if not more important. And for the fact that it's intrinsically linked to our physical health, we have to guard, protect, and prioritize our mental health at every given point in time. So if we start seeing the media and entertainment industry putting our mental health as part of their package, it may not necessarily be a department because that's a tall order, but ensuring that from inception, when they are setting up that business, they incorporate what we call an employees assistance program. It's a subtle way of incorporating mental health services within your organization. What that just means is that as a business owner and having artists and producing whatever you're doing in media and entertainment, you and your employees or you and your gang, you and your group have a safe space where you have been able to build a culture of compassion that individuals in that organization can speak up, can speak out, can seek for help from professionals in rendering this employees assistance program.
I don't actually agree that record labels, entertainment companies, or businesses should actually be having mental health departments. I think mental health is a very, very specialized issue. What they should be doing is being aware of mental health and have mental health professionals that they can relate to if they have issues with any of their talents or clients. Unfortunately, for many years, it has almost been stigma here. So people do not engage the topic and they don't discuss their problems. But definitely, a lot of talents and a lot of people in society have mental health issues and issues with depression and anxiety and other things of that nature. So it's important to relate to mental health professionals who can help when you have somebody or friends or family or clients or talents who have any issues at all. You could you could insist that your clients and your talents do have regular counseling sessions, do have relationships with counselors and psychiatrists that they can have conversations and unload and unbundle any issues they might have. The best thing anybody can do is to stay engaged with the talent. So the talent, and that means that understand and know your talent very well. You know, understand what makes them tick, what makes them click, when they are happy, to be happy, or to be in a stable state of mind and frame of mind to enable them to produce their best work. And that normally is, if you're doing that, that means that talent has a strong manager. You know, strong management is key. And that doesn't necessarily come from the label. That could come from the artist side. But the artist manager, the person that really interfaces every day with the artist, a lot of times the label is literally just there to provide distribution, retail, marketing, and finance.
One dominant recommendation is for this artist to live in their realities and not all about impressing fans who change loyalty at slightest disappointment by their so-called quasi-demigods, whose foibles are as real as any man on the streets. The story of Michael Jackson, who died in 2009, and later Whitney Houston in 2012, are few of the sad reminders that despite fame and pageantry, one's mental health must not be ignored. Reporting for Plus TV Africa, Ife Oshunkeye.
First of all, symptoms of COVID-19 in children are very clear. You talk about fever. Most of the times it could be low-grade fever, oftentimes continuous high-grade fever that is not relapsing with your regular paracetamols and your tepid sponging. One of the other symptoms, aside the respiratory symptoms that you have to look out for, is the stooling and vomiting. It's been seen to have very strong effect on stooling and vomiting in recent times among children. And when you do a culture for that, you don't see anything. There are no bacterial infections associated with it. So then, of course, the baseline is your respiratory findings, which you can have the regular cough, nasal discharge a few times, but dry cough more often in children. You want to watch out for temperature changes. You want to watch out for, loss of appetite and some catarrh for a long time, what we know as nasal discharge. Then you have to teach and model hygiene, all right? A good hygiene practice, using the hand sanitizer, washing your hand regularly, in fact, should be the stated one. And in cases of no water, you can teach them for hand sanitizers, especially those more than 60% alcohol. And then they don't necessarily have to use the face mask often, but you must teach the intake of good clean water. And then more importantly is diet. You cannot just give any food now. You have to pay attention to vegetables, greens especially. You have to have high protein diet and high calorie diet, for example, fat and oil, is important for a child to improve their metabolic state, for protein to improve their growth rate, and more importantly, fruits to improve minerals and vitamins. And so you're not doing substitute of fruits, you're doing the real fruits, the vegetables, and things like pear, cashew nut, watermelon, cucumber. Very important for them right now. Pawpaw has been seen to be very effective, especially for vitamin E, and it contains the tocopherols, vitamin E and Co, which is very important for their immunity. So you're focusing on building their immunity, and you're focusing on them having a good diet. So a summary of what parents should do in preventing COVID-19 amongst your children is: 1, teaching and modeling good health or hygiene practices. You don't just teach it, let them watch you and let them be conversant with it. Secondly, you must monitor their health. Don't take anything for granted. Once you notice fever for more than 24 hours, you want to report to the hospital and be sure that that fever is not stepping its bound. The third and very important thing, you want to see that this child is eating appropriately, and appropriately not giving junks. You want to see that they're eating the right protein, high protein diet, a good calorie, which is fat and oil, and lastly, vegetables, of course, fruits and vegetables, so that they can build their immunity. Don't necessarily do fruit substitute. Some people want to do multivitamin. Those are placebos. They're good, but it cannot take the place of the right diet pattern, greens and vegetables.
Hello and welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa. Hope you guys are doing very well. This is an entertainment show that analyzes hot topics, talks about your favorite celebrities, and a lot more. And to do that with me, I have Quincy Jones and Ifeolu Oshike. Hello, people.
It's nice to have both of you back.
Yeah.
Finally.
How's it going?
So please, what was your diagnosis? What's wrong with you?
I couldn't just be at work. I had to attend to personal stuff.
Okay.
I had to be at the White House.
Oh,
Yeah. No. I mean,
what did you bring back
spoke
for
about
us?
it.
Huh?
I laughed at.
I had to
So
be
apparently his Joe Biden's new guy.
Right.
So he had to visit the White House almost 20 times in a day.
Yeah, your White House is very small, actually.
Yeah.
It's so tiny.
Joe Biden.
Well, that's the office they gave to me in the Oval Office. I'm just trying to manage what I got.
What you've got, Abu.
Yeah.
Anyway, what about you, Quincy? How have you been?
Oh, great. I was on the show yesterday.
No, yeah?
How was that?
It was good. It was good.
Did you
It was
miss
good.
us?
Well, yes, I said it on the. Were you watching? Did you watch the show?
Obviously.
Oh, did you have a TV in your White House? Did you have a TV in your White House?
Well, I could see my TV from my White House.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's leave the door and let the stank out.
Nobody's in there. You know?
Alrighty.
Nobody's in there.
Okay,
Now,
okay.
That's way too much information. I thought you were talking about
I
Biden.
apologize.
Now you're talking about leave the door open.
No,
So
but-
be saying this thing. Are you calling Joe Biden this thing?
Anyway, we have a lot to discuss today, so I'm very excited. The first on the list, though, is a story that I don't really understand, but I have very well-equipped people next to me, so I'm sure we'll finish the story well. CDQ has taken to social media to blast Burna Boy for thinking that he is bigger than football star Obafemi Martins. The rapper expressed disappointment over the singer's attitude towards the footballer. CDQ also stated that Burna Boy and his boys owe Martin an apology. Popular Nigerian rapper Olowo CDQ has got people talking on social media after a recent tweet shared by an Instagram blogger that basically took it out. Burna Boy's behavior has been something that everyone has been worried about and always in the mix, but we don't really know what's going on. The entertainer expressed disappointment in Burna Boy for the first time for disrespecting Nigerian footballer star Obafemi. He also continues to warn that the title African Giant, which he tagged a village title, gets into his head and pushed him to misbehave around people he should not. CDQ also emphasized that the football star is not anybody's mate, so Burna Boy should use his head and gather his boys to apologize.
And he also said, anybody where they cry, they see road.
Hey!
That's how we ended it. I love that.
And what does that even mean?
What's that?
Anybody
where they cry, they see road now.
What does that mean?
Okay, in its literal sense.
Huh?
In its literal sense, if you're crying, you go see road now. You won't make a jam. You don't get as you won't cry. You can't know if you jam you. Yes, exactly. So it's like, you know, whatever is shocking you,
you still see.
You're supposed to see, they see who be who and who be what.
So I guess he's trying to insinuate that even if Burna Boy is upset, he can still act right. Is that what?
No, not really. It's more like no matter how much they hail you, you should really understand that some people pass you.
Right.
Pretty much. That's the summary.
Okay. What's your take in this story?
All right. So I saw this yesterday at the heat of it all. Right. CDQ brought the entire thing to light. Right. With the tweet which you just perfectly summarized. All right. So I did a little digging and it wasn't accurate at the time. This particular lady came up with a narrative, a summary of what had happened, saying, it's alleged that Obafemi Martins had an altercation or a situation with one of Burna Boy's boys, and Burna Boy got mad. Right? It seems, I don't know what or who that person is to Burna Boy, but it seems pretty important. And then he, accosted Obafemi Martins to, apologize, and it sounds really weird because, it's Obafemi Martins, right? Exactly. It's what, about $12.6 billion? 12.6 billion naira. Yeah, if you check it.
I say 12.6 billion
naira. Relax.
They already even heard. When I heard billion, I already knew it's naira because we don't throw billion around.
It's a lot of money, bro.
It's a lot of money.
Exactly.
What are you on about?
$1 billion is more, bro. That's my problem.
Okay, either way, all of that happened, and then it became a situation where it was reported that Obafemi Martins allegedly slapped Burna Boy's guy, and then he got really weird and stuff like that, and they were actually going to make him frog jump or something like that.
I'm going to make who frog jump?
Obafemi Martins frog jump. And stuff like that. And people at the club separated it.
Can you imagine? Do you know that meme of that child going, now, wow. Can you imagine? That's just what came to my mind.
The issue with this story is this. The person who dropped that particular narrative says it happened at Quillox. Another situation came out saying it's, what's the name of this club? There's another club.
Cubana.
No, it wasn't Cubana. Cubana's situation is different. They're always packing people at Cubana. They packed another set again, I think on Saturday or Sunday.
Did you see the way they were rushing into the Black Maria?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Well, what's the point of that? Why were they rushing?
Someone claims, it's alleged that some of the officers might have opened fire. Now, they're not sure if it was live ammunition or rubber bullets.
Oh, okay.
But they shall open one type of fire, either rubber fire or live fire. It's alleged. Yes.
Yeah, go on.
NBC. Alleged. I say alleged like 20 times. It's alleged that.
I was alleged.
Yeah, so either way, that's the situation. But it seems really weird. If that's exactly what happened, I don't think that's exactly what happened though, but it seems really weird that if that's what happened, that anyone would treat Obafemi Martins like that. Because I think of all football superstars, literally Obafemi Martins is the one that's closest to the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Like the closest, and he actually, my brother, football are different from artists. Last. Do you understand what I mean? No. Football are actually different from artists. Because you get some shows where you go perform. If you perform from now to next tomorrow, every single day of your life, you don't get that money for 1 week.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got a ton of money.
Yeah.
But aside from that, international,
he's not a small boy.
He's not.
On any
in
ground.
any ramification, on any level, he's not. So I don't see any reason why that should have happened. Do you understand? But also, I want to look at it from Burna Boy's side as well. It could be the level of importance of the friend. Do you understand what I mean? Yes. No, but honestly though, like now,
he
faced my guy.
He faced my guy. If someone to hit the nail on the head, and you're just going around, you're just.
If someone to mess with him, I'll defend my guy, right?
And you tell Obafemi to
do you want us to be real on this table?
Yeah.
This is cultism. A play. Don't let us even take it away from that, bro. Let's call a spade
Another
spade.
angle.
You want to tell us what it is?
Yeah, I want to tell you what it is.
Okay, I'm listening.
Because I don't understand why a Bonner boy will have the F1 You understand? Like they say, Toban Sukun,
Okay, so what do you call it now?
I said cultism.
Okay, so what's the angle to it there?
That it is a cultism
The angle
play.
to it is that it is not new that Nigerian entertainers have flaunted their cult groups.
Right.
Now, if you call something a cult, it's supposed to be, they call it secret cult for a reason. You don't come to live television, live shows, live performances, live clubs, and be eating some things.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine? You think I'm not going to shut this table?
What table is that?
Oh, you want to act ignorant now?
Ignorant.
You're ignorant.
No,
now.
but waiting, we
ignorant?
don't know now.
Me, I know because I know they hide down from us.
Yeah,
Okay.
they don't
hide
actually.
down.
They don't.
Okay.
I can tell you the list of celebrities that belong to certain cults, and if they check the social media, you will find out that these people are there. It's on YouTube. I'm not going to stop talking. Now, some people are telling me to talk like I'm supposed to be scared of the cult, but I've got the Lord Jesus Christ, people.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, somebody.
Glory.
Yes. So, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Do you understand?
So you think that
Hold up.
So you think Burna Boy decided to flaunt his cultist side, his supremacy
over Obago that is probably, I don't know what it is because he hasn't flaunted anything.
Okay.
But I don't know what Burna Boy belongs
So of all people to do that with or against?
Because I mean, you know, you said
Bro,
something. You said you know
No,
you said
your money
something.
don't count when it comes to these things.
Well, you know,
They
well,
mess
this
anybody
is
up.
all. This is
I wouldn't
us.
know, bro.
Yes, you wouldn't know because you want to act ignorant. But I know you know.
Who's this guy?
So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Now tell me why a Bonner boy with a Lobafemi Majesty
Exactly.
doing
Okay, so in this hypothetical,
alleged,
guys,
bro.
let me talk.
It's alleged.
So in this hypothetical situation where
Yeah.
it could be cultism, we will use your narration. This is us making super story scripts now.
It's alleged.
I said super story,
Don't
hypothetical.
forget
We were
alleged. The NBC, not the year super story. It's alleged.
They hear. I
Okay.
trust they do.
Yeah.
Anyway, hypothetically speaking, right? Remember you said something that it depends on who the person is or whatever. So
Yeah.
there are situations where, or in a world where Obafemi is not, his relevance doesn't matter. So let's say if you're working according to a code, which everybody does,
What are
and
you talking
cultists,
about?
you get,
You're
I'll
talking
get
about
there.
cultism as well.
Yeah, why are you running away from the cultism subject matter? We don't support that
Who
on
is?
this table.
Do I sound like
Yes,
I'm running
so
away
let's
from
just talk
anything?
about it, bro.
Do I sound like that?
Yeah, let's talk
It is
about
very
it.
possible that if they're all working in the same code, that you could do
What
something.
code?
I don't know, am I a cultist?
But you are the one talking about this.
Are you
Bro, let me
expecting us to
land
tell you
now.
what called Bonner? Is that what you want to hear? Bonner boy belongs to so cult. I don't know.
But I know ask you that thing actually.
No, you
I
Guys,
know ask you.
guys, I'm
like
trying
we
to make
should
a
tell
point
you.
here.
Yeah,
What
I'm
I'm saying
listening,
is that
please.
I'm sure, like, okay, in my household, for example, there are some things that somebody would do. It doesn't matter if you're the mom or dad or whatever, and it would open the space for, not say disrespect, but somebody else can call you out, right? Even if you're supposed to be put in high regard. I'm sure even Buhari in other circles can mess up and he's allowed to be chastised, right? Maybe not as the president of Nigeria and we're using citizen and president relationship, but there'll be some kind of other circles that he works in that he can now be somebody that is able to be scolded. That's what I'm trying to say. So hypothetically speaking, you don't know maybe the code of conduct in which they are cultists.
Do you understand? So it is not about money, so don't let us even downplay